The first step that we do is we mark the position on the chart plotter. We have one button that's an MOB, a set button. I throw this all overboard and it becomes an inflatable man overboard pole. What it has inside is a rope with a loop in it. The idea here is you put the loop around your wrist and you throw the rest of the rope to the person in the water.
Hi, this is Tom from Life 4.0. If you are here, you undoubtedly like boating and being on the water. So do Karen and I. It's been a lifelong passion. But in order to make that passion last a lifetime, we take personal safety very seriously on board our boat SeaRose. Suffering from an avoidable injury, or worse, hoping for rescue in a storm-tossed life raft, is a quick way to lose that passion. In this third installment in our series on boating safety, we zero in on the man overboard scenario, or more appropriately called crew overboard, and the techniques and products used to get that person back on board. So let's get started.
Okay, so let's assume that somebody falls overboard. Again, not an ideal situation at all, and you want to do everything you can to prevent this from happening. But there are a lot of products out there that are meant to retrieve people from the water and to mark their position and so forth. So on starting off with the marking and kind of self-rescue area of person going overboard, we have two products for that on board. We have a man overboard pole. It's actually an inflatable pole. It's not the traditional long physical pole, and that's over here. So this packet here on the outside of the lifeline is the inflatable man overboard pole. So it's in a case, and then inside this is all of the inflatable mechanism. Kind of works like an inflatable life jacket. I throw this all overboard and it becomes an inflatable man overboard pole. The other product we have is a horseshoe buoy right here, so a very traditional thing. This is something you throw in the water for somebody to try to grab and to help them sort of do self-rescue. It also has a man overboard light that pops off the bracket here, and it also has a little whistle, and finally is a little drogue, so to help it reduce its travel in wind. So that's a horseshoe buoy. Now the horseshoe buoy has only one strap that's attached into the boat, so you remove that one strap, you throw the whole thing overboard, the light pulls out of the bracket, the whistle is available, and then that drogue deploys, and the drogue tries to reduce its travel during heavy winds. So the combination of those two products, the horseshoe buoy and the man overboard light assembly, are things that go in the water first. We actually have a procedure that we walk through new people through on board the boat in terms of what happens if somebody goes in the water. The first step that we do is we mark the position on the chart plotter. We have one button that's an MOB, a set button, and that sets a waypoint for where the person went overboard. Second thing we do is we ask, and as long as we have enough people on board, we ask one person to be dedicated to looking to where that person is and keeping eyes on that person in the water. That's the only thing they do. They don't do anything together with lines or dropping sails or whatever. Their job is to focus on that person and not leave sight of that person. The third thing we do then is to deploy this man overboard pole and the horseshoe buoy so that the person in the water can try to find those and to try to do some self-rescue. And then continuing on is sort of more of the traditional things like furling sails if we happen to be sailing at the time, and so that we can then motor back to the position where they went into the water. Let's assume that we've found the person in the water and now we're trying to retrieve them out of the water. We have two products for that. The first product is this life sling system. This is kind of like the horseshoe buoy. It's got kind of a U-shaped float with a long line attached to it that's then secured to the boat. So this whole thing goes overboard. The person in the water can put it around their chest, and then particularly in colder waters where they might not have a lot of strength to swim, you can pull them into the boat, and actually you can hoist them out of the water with a life sling. We've also added a whistle to that, and further down inside here is a floating light, strobe light. The second product that we have is a rescue throw rope. This sits here attached to the rail. What it has inside is a rope with a loop in it. The idea here is you put the loop around your wrist and you throw the rest of the rope to the person in the water. It's a very simple thing, but you might think, oh, I could just sort of put that together myself. We all have tons of rope or line on board, but this is all set to go, which is something that, time is of the expediencies when you have somebody in the water. So you can throw this in the water. If you don't get it on the first try to them, you can use this bag to scoop up water and get some weight to it and get some momentum to throwing it further out to them in the water. So that's there. It's clipped onto the rail all the time for us to use whenever we need to. Now, on the topic of recovery of somebody in the water, you have to think about how you're going to get them back on board the boat. As I mentioned, the life sling has at least the strength of the design so that it could be used to actually lift somebody out of the water, but you need some apparatus for rigging up to a halyard or to a block and tackle system. Some people suggest using the end of a boom to swing that out over the person with a block and tackle arrangement and pulling them in. That's a lot of work. You want to think through, make sure you have all the equipment there ready to go for that. The other option, and one that we rely upon a lot, is having a swim platform that goes down close to the water with a ladder to be able to recover somebody from the stern of the boat. Now, not all boats have that kind of arrangement. They might have a high transom, and it's very difficult to get down low to be able to reach somebody and to pull them back on board. So again, another design consideration when either looking at a boat or maybe thinking about how you might modify it with a ladder that goes down off the transom that's fixed there, always ready to go. Something like that in order to get down low to be able to reach somebody in the water. We like the swim platform approach. In our case, it's a very wide swim platform that goes right down close to the water, and then it has a swim ladder that deploys off of it. So you're right close to the water, you can reach somebody easily and pull them back on board. And as I mentioned, anything that we have that goes in the water, our life jackets, man overboard poles, that kind of thing, if it doesn't already have it built into it, we've added a whistle and we've added a strobe light. So those are two important things, not difficult to acquire. It's a nice thing to add on to your equipment that goes overboard to rescue somebody. One more thing about rescuing people in the water is it's important to have a good spotlight. This is one that we just bought off of the internet. It's a rechargeable LED light. It works really well, and I like the fact that you can just, when you're done using it at night, you can charge it up the next morning so it's ready to go for the next overnight passage. And it's also helpful for anchoring at night, that kind of thing. It's rechargeable, and so in theory it could run out of juice at some point. So we also have this light that plugs in with a kind of cigarette plug adapter that goes into our a socket in the cockpit. So another kind of approach. You want to really consider to have both because, like I said, batteries run out. So it's good to have something that plugs into the power on the boat. And the last thing on that topic is headlamps. So this is a headlamp. We've got 4 of these on board. They all are the same design so that somebody can grab it and know, okay, this is where the white light, this is where the red light is. Very, very helpful for working at night if you're having to try to rescue somebody. Wherever you look, the light is shining. These are very easy to find at hardware stores, camping stores, and of course marine stores. So get yourself some of these if you don't already have them.
Okay, that wraps up this 3rd video in our series on boating safety. As always, we hope you enjoyed it, and we encourage you to like it so others can more easily find this kind of content. Be sure to check out our playlist of other how-to videos on our Life 4.0 channel, as well as our many sailing adventure videos, as we explore this amazing planet one anchorage at a time.